Congressman Kevin McCarthy of California, the House Minority Leader. And Leader McCarthy, thank you for being here. Let's talk a little bit about this. What do you think of this plan? Is this proposal going to go anywhere once it gets to Congress?
I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Remember, Article 1, Section 7, all tax reform starts in the House. So I don't see the House generating this, but I don't know. We've got a new majority in the House, and they're at their 100-day anniversary today, and it sounds a lot like what they've been wanting to do, raise taxes. But the real damage that will be done after we've fought for 3 decades trying to lower the corporate rate to make America competitive, to get more people working, where we got unbelievable numbers from unemployment claims down to almost a 50-year low. This is the answer that Elizabeth Warren and the Democrats are giving us. Just want to tax more instead of keeping more people working. I don't think it'll succeed. I don't think it can pass.
You know, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how this works, but my understanding is that it would only apply to companies that somehow are not paying the 21%, the new lower corporate tax rate that went through, that this would be, Andrew put it well, I think, a kind of an AMT applying to corporations.
And how many years did we work to try to get rid of the AMT that was only going to start out to affect like 3 or 4 people? That went into effect to almost everybody across. We took us many decades to get rid of that. But all she wants to do is go after the companies that are creating jobs. Remember, corporations don't pay taxes. People pay taxes. If corporations are lowering their tax rate, so we were the least competitive, now we're the most competitive, what it means, corporations are spending the money in R&D or paying salaries and others. I think she just has a tough understanding of economics on a basic level. And then I think it's just a play that her presidential campaign is not going well. If you look at her first quarter, it did not go well. I don't think she's going to be able to stay in this race even, and so she's throwing anything up she can. And just as her beer commercial or whatever she did, I don't think this will work either.
But that was just like President Obama's. You didn't build that speech. Wasn't it? I was listening to it. It was identical. It really was. I don't know. You know, I guess in certain quarters that helped President Obama, but it also, you know, in other quarters put him up for a lot of sort of derision when you said that, because it's...
Joe, I always thought that that comment was taken out of context, because clearly we live in this, we're all blessed to live in this fabulous country. Warren Buffett will say it. I think one of the great entrepreneurs of our time is sitting right next to me. I think he would say it, and we've all been a beneficiary of that. And I think the issue is, and I'm not necessarily a fan of this particular tax, but I think the issue is, if you need to get a certain amount of revenue to try to pay for the roads and the schools and everything else around you, you got to figure out how to do it.
The people the personal people that run the company pay taxes, and what we're talking about is a global economy where we want our corporations to succeed, to hire more workers, to expand, and to compete better globally. So hitting the corporations doesn't make any sense if you know anything about...
And fundamentally, so just strip everything down and say $1 trillion in private sector people and companies who will invest to create jobs and wealth, or $1 trillion, that same $1 trillion with the United States federal government. That's really what comes down to me.
Who spends it wiser?
Yeah.
Who spends it wiser?
Exactly.
If you look at any poll, the company that America trusts the least is government. It's the least efficient. And really, I don't think Barack Obama's comments were taken out of context, especially for any entrepreneur. Look, when I was 21 years old, I started my first business, and there's 3 lessons I learned. I was the first to work, I was the last to leave, and I was last to be paid. I think any entrepreneur that worked and put the sweat in to create a job, they understand, they put a lot of work into this. Yes, they're very thankful. They understand living in America gave them that opportunity. But the idea to say you did not create this business, I think goes to the foundation of what entrepreneurships understand. And I don't think he was taken out of context. And I think that's why he got blowback. And for the same point, I think where Elizabeth Warren here is wanting to tax the job creators. We are now at a 49.5-year low for unemployment claims. That means more people are working. Why? Because we lowered the corporate rate from 35 to 21. I give it that no Democrat voted for that. That was only the Republicans who were able to get that through, but it's benefiting all Americans, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Green Party. It is making America stronger.
As we add $1 trillion to our debt, that's the other side of this. That's the other side of the equation, leader.
You understand the greatest addition to debt is the mandatory spending on the entitlements going forward. You understand that that's every day 10,000 people qualify. They'll happen that way for the next 16 years.
And on both sides of the aisle, we have not been able to solve
added
that.
Just with Medicaid. Correct. But you know, in the House last term, we actually tried to make reform to that. We lost by a vote in the Senate. Every single budget that we passed when we were in the majority dealt with it and balanced. You know, the fundamental thing that President Obama said, the constitutional thing that the House should always do is pass a budget. We're at 100 days. You know what the Democrats have said? They're not passing a budget. Their own chair of the appropriation said in a closed room they don't deserve to be in the majority if they can do this. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker, has said for years, show me your budget, show me your values. Well, you know what? The only thing they have done in this new 100 days, radicalism, they do resolutions. If they 20% of the time is spent on resolution, not on bills. Imagine if we spent 20% of our time on lowering the premium or going after the deficit or putting in infrastructure. We would be stronger.
Leader.
But I think America does deserve better.
You know, I think that when somebody who's running for president says, I want to add $1 trillion tax and doesn't say at least at minimum what it's going to be directed to specifically versus, you know, just raise it for the general
They don't have
fund.
They never outline how they're going to use the pool that they raise from the rich. Sometimes it looks like a cap on the rich rather than trying to raise up the people on the bottom.
Can I say one other thing? And when they say, you know, this fair share argument that they use, do you know what 1% of the top 1% of
40%?
It's 47 or 8%
Well,
now
I was going to say,
federal tax receipts.
you, I think through Quicken Loans, but maybe through Rock Ventures too, are the largest taxpayer in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yep.
And you have, I think, 17,000 people in Detroit, but 30,000 people more broadly. What would a tax like this mean? Would it change your business at all?
I don't, like you said earlier, I don't totally understand what it is. Where it sounds like it's almost like a casino tax, like off the top of revenue. It sounds like, but I don't know if that's it. I can't tell.
I don't quite get it.
Hey, Leader, while we have you, can I just pivot the conversation? I wanted to get your thoughts on Stephen Moore and his Federal Reserve nomination as a governor. I don't know if you saw, there's a viral video going around from last night. He was on with Aaron Burnett on CNN where he got trapped into, I don't know, I want to say trapped, but he basically was seen effectively lying. He went on television, said that he wasn't for the gold standard, and then she showed 5 clips where he was for the gold standard. I mean, it was almost embarrassing.
Well, I'm sorry, I have not seen that video, but what happens anytime somebody is up for a nomination, they'll go through a hearing, and I think those are the times that you can ask the questions and actually get an answer going through, and the Senate will have a confirmation part. But I know Stephen Moore.
Do you believe he's qualified to be on the board of the Fed?
I think he is qualified to be on the board of the Fed, but I don't have a vote in that. The Senate will. But anytime that somebody is qualified, you also have to go through a hearing. Just because you're qualified does not mean you're going to make it. But if the question is he qualified, yes, he is qualified.
What about Herman Cain?
I don't know that Herman Cain is going to continue moving forward. I know Herman Cain. The Senate, I understand that he probably does not have the votes as today, and he probably will pull back from that nomination.
Leader McCarthy, I want to thank you for your time today. It's good talking to you.
Thank you so very much.
All right, coming up this